Hopefully Norrie has stayed on the straight and narrow the last couple of days. He got a little carried away after his second round win, didn't he? Did you see the interview? Court 7, court 6, there's, you know, there's a bar overlooking them. It was a pretty raucous crowd, and after the win, Norrie asking where the after party was. So not like him. Roll back to the college days.
Has that been one of the big problems, you think, in the past with this matchup for Cam, his forehand into Sasha's backhand?
I would say so. You know, Zverev's two-hander is right up there, isn't it? You know, the levers he has, the timing he has on that shot, he can be devastating with it. Particularly in these conditions where, you know, there's nice speed in the balls in the courts, he can really rush opponents. You know, not just the forehand, but probably the lefty serve as well. I think Zverev is reasonably comfortable receiving a left-handed slice serve, so he's going to have to mix things and be prepared to hit his own forehand down the line today, I think, which can often be the sort of barometer of how confident he's feeling on the court. And look for that serve, you know, at times, you know, down the tee, forehand body even, jamming Zverev. Try and get some attackable balls as he did there and take care of them.
Such a good match between them here in 2024, but that was kind of his Johnny Mack era, wasn't it?
For Norrie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen Huss was part of the team, do you remember? Yeah, the former Wimbledon doubles winner. I had a look actually at the stats. He
was S&Ving.
Yep.
Crush and rushing.
48 times he came to the net in that match.
And already we've seen a couple of early forays up to net from Norrie, taking a leaf out of the book from a match that he was so agonizingly close to winning before going down in a final set breaker. And that's where he can obviously try and hurt Sasha on the kind of inverse of what we were talking about, the forehand topspin going into Sasha's backhand. Sasha's forehand into him, because he's able, through the technique that he produces, nice short backswing, can kind of hug the baseline.
Yeah, I would expect Norrie and his team have revisited that 24 meeting between these two and looked at the way Norrie was playing. We've already seen him come in twice, as you said. I think he has to come in this matchup. He'll get beaten from the baseline if he just stays there. You know, he was a 10-point tiebreak from beating Zverev and reaching the quarters, probably just guilty of tightening up when it mattered most, but he is human after all. Gets a chance to put it right today.
So good. Gnarly angle on that backhand that Cam can find, and it stays so low after the bounce.
Yeah, and how about the angle? The angle was so good.
Yeah.
He was actually able to hit a winner down the middle of the court here. Look where this forehand lands. But Zverev nowhere to be seen. Exactly what you were referring to. It's an awkward ball, the Norrie backhand, for Zverev to deal with on his own forehand, because he's a tall man, 6'6". He has a very high take back on the forehand as well. Doesn't really change it. You'll see a lot of players adjust their take back for the height of the shot they're receiving. Yeah, low slice, they'll prepare lower. He prepares high for pretty much any ball, fast, slow, high, low. And it can be a test for him to time a shot like that.
What a start this is proving to be for Norrie. Never really feel as though that's the best place to serve to Cain on that backhand side because of the way that he hits that return and gets it low. Always feel like you at times on the defense with your +1. Forehand at times gets the ball a little bit shorter, a little higher. Cannot execute a game plan any better than that. That was absolute perfection. Last time they met, Wimbledon 2024, did not even create a breakpoint opportunity. Opening game here in Australia 2026, he breaks him.
Well, what a start. As you say, the perfect plan. Look at that backhand. Cross court, short, low. Zverev not really engaging the legs, did he?
Not at all.
Just flicked the ball into the court short, and to execute then on a couple of forehands as he did in that game. What a feeling, what a start for Norrie. He's just got to get it in the house now. 2-love first set. Get this winning position, get it, see it home.
Lagunes sitting in the corner. You saw him, James Trotman, next to him in the player box. If you think you recognize Trotters, that's because he was with Jack Draper the last couple of years. Interested to see how Cam serves against Sasha today. I mean, there's a little bit of me that would like to see him toggle his speeds massively. I like 195, that's fine. It's going to keep Sasha deep behind the baseline where he wants to be. But one of the problems that he has is that it's not a big enough serve to really get through the defenses of Sasha. So suddenly throwing in an off-pace serve, particularly on the outside as a lefty, 150, get it to die in front of him.
Response. He's pretty much seen it all now, hasn't he, at this level. Great game for Norrie to break, big reaction, but Zverev nonplussed, just back to work and ripping through a forehand of his own.
And the other thing about being tall, it doesn't just help you with your serve, but also when it comes through with Cam's heavily spun forehand, sits in a comfortable place for the German. Really nice redirect. He has got a very positive mindset.
Yeah, he's timing his forehand beautifully. Tends to be the shot that will be more erratic. You know, he can hurt opponents with it, but he can cough up some errors as well. It was flushed again there.
Two saved, one to go. That's going to make Zverev perhaps have to try and change direction on the return, make it a little bit tougher for him, try and squeeze it down the line maybe, or at least find some better depth through the middle of the court.
I love the, as you referred to it, the positive mindset from Norrie. The fact that he was following that forehand in, actually won him the point. If he stayed on the baseline, I think Zverev just neutralizes that through the middle. So he's forcing the issue here. This is good stuff. No sign of any heavy taping or anything around the left ankle for Zverev. He does play with both ankles taped under the socks, just as a precaution. Pretty common on tour.
Example of what Flembo was saying about the forehand potentially going off as Sasha's team, including his brother, who's chatting to him right there, Misha, gives him some words of wisdom. He is back on serve.
Time.
Cloudless sky. It has been pretty much the perfect day here in Melbourne. It is going to get a little warmer tomorrow, and because of that, play is going to get underway about an hour earlier just to try and contend with the heat that is expected here for the players to have to contend with. Playing today will be pretty thankful that they missed that particular day, but they may, if they continue to do exceptionally well, have to contend with a very hot day that's predicted on Tuesday.
Classic Melbourne, isn't it? Sort of beautiful day today, maybe 27, 28. Temperature forecast to jump 12, 13 degrees. Might touch 40 tomorrow. It will not be easy. Nice defense, nice counter from Norrie, but two untidy volleys from Zverev, and neither of them hit with enough purpose or the right trajectory. That forehand in particular was a bit of a shocker. For me, just never really looks like he gets the grip right on either volley. Doesn't get that bite on the ball.
What he won't struggle with is making first serves. And the one thing that it seems like he's trying to do in 26, just get a little bit more placement behind that serve. Often a high percentage, but not necessarily a high number of aces. He was certainly better at United Cup. Just had to play the couple of matches in the end before Germany went out, but beat Griekspoor, lost to Hurkacz.
Example of just how problematic Norrie's backhand can be for Zverev. Great depth into the forehand corner there to get the short ball. Zverev benefited from a downpour a couple of evenings ago. 45 minutes or so rain delay, but it meant the sort of last set and a half against Müller was played with a closed roof, an indoor environment, which he, you know, loves as much as anyone.
One thing that Cain doesn't mind, Flammo, is a bit of hard work. He doesn't mind making this physical. The problem that he's had in the previous head-to-heads is the guy down the other end doesn't mind it either, generally.
Yeah, both these players have an incredible capacity for hard work, great engines. That was another good forceful point from Norrie.
Wasn't it last year that Sasha was on court with Tommy Paul? Rod Laver, hindrance call for the exact same item that we just saw.
Yeah, feather came down from the roof, was it?
Found the baseline. That man's clearly found your hotel room and nicked your headgear.
Well, looked for the majority of his flight like it would be going long, just enough topspin to clip the baseline.
He's made that look easy. Now that was coming in pretty swiftly at 167, but Cam has taken that on the rise and just redirected down the line.
Just looks so ready for this challenge, doesn't he? He's a man of the world, Cameron Norrie, in his pre-season down in Argentina. Of course, where his coach is from, a lot of hard work put in, and he looks fresh and ready for this tonight. he looks prepared to stay out of his comfort zone as well, doesn't he? And that's what you have to do when you're 6-0 against an opponent, never beaten them. You have to do something different.
That is a fabulously worked point from Zverev. The return actually settled up nicely for him, as you talked about. He loves that high takeaway, and because he's tall, he was able to hit this down into the court, not really needing any spin at all. But that is good vision of where to place the drop shot.
Absolutely the right decision to follow the drop shot into the net. Simplest of finishes. Big game coming now for Norrie. Really bright start, 2-love up. He's been pegged back to 2-all here. And he could really do with a hold of serve.
Thank you, Alexander Zverev Arena.
Just a little pocket of British fans just to the left of, sorry, to the right of where Cam's serving from at the moment. A little fist pump to them. That's what Zverev is so good at doing, though, absorbing your best shots, flicking them back to a length.
I don't think his movement gets enough attention, enough praise. Zverev, he is such a powerful mover on a tennis court. But it, you know, laterally covering the corners, but his speed up the court is exceptional.
Feels like he's just got a little extra on the ball. It's so impressive from Cam at the moment. Not just the fact that he's being consistent, but just the width of the attack that Zverev is having to try and counter. Very nicely done. In fact, he'll be happy with that. 3-2.
Got the double thumbs up there from coach.
Yeah, and nice that those two have stayed together. I think there was a little period, wasn't there, when he was kind of really looking for something else, and as you say, Stephen Huss came on board and they were looking to try and sort of find something to get a little bit more out of Cam's game. The one thing I've always thought, I actually think he got good volleys. If you actually watch him come in, so often he doesn't have his right hand on the throat of the racket. He comes in and the racket head is kind of weaving all over the place. And I almost feel when it's like that, you have to kind of like massage the volley.
Yeah, I just can't comprehend how someone could volley without having their non-playing hand on the throat of the racket for control, or hit a slice, for example. Because it just feels like, yeah, the racket is far less control and stability.
Time.
Just sticking a new overgrip on. Some players like to have a couple on there. Some still like to play with the leather grip underneath and have the synthetic overgrip. With a 16-20 string pattern, it's a little different. That's what Carlos changed to, wasn't it, on his racket? Alcaraz, he had a 16-19, wanted a bit more control, went to the 16-20. Always wondered whether Cam, as well as he's done on the grass, whether he could go to a kind of a 16-19 or get a little bit more pop at times on one of the surfaces.
particularly on the forehand. You know,
he's not struggling for spin on that side.
No, but it would give him even more, wouldn't
Yep.
it? Which, you know, maybe maximise that sort
Yep.
of asset.
Let's.
I think his backhand, I don't think that kind of change would trouble him with his backhand. It's just a shot that he owns, isn't it? So much control off that wing. Zverev obviously made a change last year, didn't he? Looking for more pop, more power in his game.
Yeah, it was slightly more flexible frame, but slightly wider, wasn't it? So it did give him a little bit more power. Had spent most of the off-season working with his racket company to make that change, and it seemed like it was a good one, getting through to the final. But I think rather than the sort of journey down to South America to try it out on the clay, which he ended up not loving, and then by Monte Carlo basically practiced with it the week before and then just changed back to his old model. I think the loss to Yannick just sat with him a lot longer than he was probably willing to admit at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah, his player of his stature, his ranking, plays a lot of tennis. Mind-blowing amounts, actually, in terms of tournaments, but the amount he practices as well. You know, I was in Turin for the tour finals, the end of season, when bodies are a little beaten up. His off days, he's on the court for 2 hours and he's playing paddle in the evening. I mean, it's remarkable, but, you know, I think he just needs that volume to feel confident.
To be fair, a lot of these top players, as much as they play in matches, that's where they get their confidence from, is the practice court. Sinner talked about it on the return to the tour, talked about it actually, I think, pre-Cincinnati last year. Yes, I get confidence through winning. Obviously, everybody does. But more importantly, I get the confidence from practice when I know I can do it. I know it's going to transfer to the match court.
Yeah. Yeah, it's similar to all walks of life, isn't it? You know, just shivering a little here as I think of sitting exams back in the school days. You know, but when you were prepped and you'd done your revision, how much more confident did you feel?
I don't know.
Flip side of that, when you were winging it, felt like you could throw up pre-test.
Problem is, if you passed it, it's like, oh, I can get away with that next time.
Last game with this first set of tennis balls, which of course is used for the 4-minute warm-up and the first 7 games. They'll be pretty fluffed up and about as slow as you'll get them. Always makes things just a little more complicated for the player that's serving.
I think it makes it even harder for the person that's a medium hitter. And sometimes Cam, if he's not playing with the style that we've seen him start this match, can find himself potentially getting dictated to in these moments.
Yeah, he needs to be right on it here, Norrie, in this service game. Welcome unforced error from Zverev there. Going for a very wide position. Does like to mix this in. First time we've seen it today. That was actually an incredible return from Zverev. Norrie completely changing the angle, but the German timing it beautifully. He'll be disappointed to miss the next forehand.
Yeah, there's some gains to be made here from Norrie's perspective, not just through the quality of play, which has been impressive, but Sasha yet to settle, and you've got to hit them when they're in that situation, the higher seeds.
Time.
That is a sunset. Look at the size of that. Even I could hit that. And that's saying something.
I think Melbourne has to be right up there globally for sunsets.
And this tennis festival, which it's become, no question about it, is right up there with the best of the sporting events, not just tennis events. So many different nationalities from the fans' perspective walking around the grounds.
A little discontent there from Zverev with regards to how long it's taking a racket to come back from the stringers.
I think it's still, is it there at the stringers, or was he saying it's stayed where it was and it hasn't gone?
Yeah, potentially. I did notice he warmed up around 3 p.m. this afternoon on court 16, which is pretty close to this John Cain Arena. There's the racket. So yeah, it would have been a fair bit warmer at 3 p.m. than it is now inside John Cain Arena. So maybe just adjusting the tension to suit.
Unless we missed it, I didn't see him send a racket off at the start of this match. I didn't see that, so it's kind of wild to me that he's had one come back from the stringers when he didn't really know what the conditions were going to be like. I mean, understandably, if he did send one out for one love and we missed it, then I get that, but I didn't see it. A lot of times, the player will have the warm up, have a game, and think, whoa, this doesn't feel quite right, and send it off, but I didn't see that at all. Cam was out here actually a little later on this particular court, warming up before Jovic and Paolini came out here. So he was perhaps a little more used to the conditions, but that is about as sweet a half volley as you will ever see.
Yeah, whatever tension the new racket's at, it's obviously the right one.
Tends to be when you put it in the middle of the strings.
Yeah, it's perfection, wasn't it?
Yeah. Look at how he just takes the pace off the ball with the racket head going back.
I feel like in days gone by, players used to be better prepared with regards to walking onto court with rackets at different tensions. You know, I'm thinking back to the Sampras sort of days, but obviously now the players change rackets, I think, more often. Every change of balls, so maybe they come on with them all at the same tension with that regard. But I feel like players used to come on with, you know, maybe 3 or 4 at a certain tension and two at different tension, and you know they had options.
Again, Zverev.
More self-reliant.
I think without a shadow of a doubt.
And also, the fact is, it's a lot easier these days to get the rackets back to the string and get them restrung again.
Yeah.
And I think players quite comfortably now will cut out 6 rackets a day and get them restrung for their matches. Whereas in the past, to be fair, back in those days, there were players that, you know, didn't restring rackets before matches at times. Couldn't afford it.
I think Adrian Mannarino is just about the only player these days that does that. I think he just uses a racket until it breaks, doesn't he?
It's one from 2013. Yeah. Still a bit tight.
I think the freedom of movement in the stands just slightly bothering both players so far in coming between games. I really like the way he's attacking the net. You know, not just the fact that he's coming forward, but it's full conviction, isn't it? Watch the footwork here. Really attacks this volley with his feet and his legs. That's perfect.
That's 11.
8 of 9 net points won so far for Norrie. He couldn't have asked for that department to be going any better for him.
What an excellent serving display this has been from Norrie to begin this match. 5-4.
Time.
Sasha likes playing a lefty, so this has been a very credible effort from Cam. We know the head-to-head between these two, but he has a 10-match winning streak, does the German against left-handers at majors. And Sasha has also won the last 34 out of 35 matches on the tour against lefties. His only loss in that time was against Lerner Tien, the genius from the US, and that was in Acapulco in the second round. Kind of when he was really entering the slump. Well, it's a play you like to see from Zverev. He won't like the fact that he's missed the forehand, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the way that you like to see him hit his forehand, you know, really thumping the ball. Just pushed it wide though. And you know, you hit a forehand like that and miss, you know, mentally you feel a lot better about things than if you just sort of roll the forehand into the court and allow your opponent to dictate and lose the point. So no surprise to see him bounce straight back with an ace there. He's obviously in a good mindset. Really jumped that second serve. Able to use his height to get the ball short in the box, and with the height of the bounce that beat Norrie there.
Yeah, got a sense that Cam was looking at the speed gun. He was so surprised at how quickly that was on him, but I agree with you. I think it was more the bounce than it was the pace. That was the pace. And it is consistently quick. 203. He's averaged pretty much 200 for this opening set.
And he's averaged 76% of first serves in the court, 22 out of 29. It's remarkable the numbers he can post.
And that's routine.
Yeah.
That's not out of the ordinary for Zverev.
Height of the bounce again there. Troubling Norrie. That can be an issue for him on his backhand in particular. I think he's much more comfortable with the ball sort of between waist and shoulder height than when it gets above the shoulder.
That could have been awkward had he decided to stab at it in front of him rather than put the brakes on and just get a little bit more pace. Exactly the same thing. The problem for Cam is his backhand works well when his footwork's great. The first point made it difficult, and there he's going to maroon himself. He's just not going to get enough pace through the court, and it wasn't angled well enough.
Yeah, I just think he wasn't advanced enough in the court.
No, he needed to hit that and reverse.
Yeah. Don't want to be too critical because, you know, he's played exceptionally well here. You know, and he has to come forward. It's only the second sort of net point that he's lost. Just guilty on that occasion of you know, playing the approach from a little too close to the baseline. Didn't give himself enough time to get in and cover the net. That's where you want to hit approach shots from. Well inside the baseline. Really good response to going behind 15-30.
It's tough for Cam to even mislead Zverev with the ball toss because Sasha's actually taken a lot of good sort of moves to the left to cover the swinger out wide. But he can't quite get it pure enough down the tee to keep it away. It's kind of still swinging off the bounce towards Sasha, who's got such a big wingspan that he can get his racket on it. He's going so disappointed after so much good work and delivering the perfect serve that he's done that. Did he overthink it?
He must have thought he'd won the point. I thought he had with the serve. Zverev, it looked like he made contact with that on the other side of the court, the ad side.
Let's have a look at his grip here. I wonder whether he went to hit it and then he went to the chopper grip pretty early. I wondered whether he was going to hit the drop shot, but Sasha, to be fair to him, had started moving forward. He's gone away with a relatively timid approach.
Zverev will be kicking himself for not making Norrie play a volley there.
I feel like it would have been easier to go down the line, which is where Sasha in general would like to hit that shot.
This is brilliant tennis. Yeah, this is two guys pushing each other to the limit. You know, physically, tactically, testing each other's skills.
Sasha did a really nice job of attacking the forehand of Norrie there. Good depth, big target, kind of got a couple of balls back, but as you say, Cam did nicely to get that back to kind of neutral, which isn't where he is now, down break point at 5-all in the first. He may have the height of an attacker, but he has, Zverev, the soul of a defender. And how many times in his career have we seen him do that? Unbelievable, 6-5. Look at determination as these two players have thrilled the crowd over the first 50 minutes or so in this opening set. That is a bitter pill for Norrie to have to swallow, and with virtually no runway to recover it, he's going to need a bit of a helping hand here.
I thought that was a brilliant break of serve from Zverev. You know, Norrie didn't do an awful lot wrong. He landed a lot of good first serves. He, you know, played brave tennis, went for his shots, but Zverev really found his rhythm there. A lot of good returns made, moving well, hitting big, and as you say, this would be a tough pill to swallow for Norrie, having played so well to end up with nothing to show for this opening set. This is proper, isn't it?
I mean, this is when Sasha plays like this. This is when you believe that he can win a major.
Yeah, exactly. This is how he finished against Muller, and this is the player that can test Alcaraz and Sinner. Yeah, you know, I'm not saying he's guaranteed to beat them, but if he played like this and played them 10 times, he would get wins. And it's subtle, but I love the steps he took up to that backhand to take it well inside the baseline, take the ball on the rise. He's large and in charge now.
It's a beautiful sunny day here in Melbourne, but it is Sasha who is raining down first serves as ever. And will he reign supreme over Norrie for a 7th time? Just like their previous plan that he had was almost good enough. If that's dropped, that's going to be trouble. Oh, it wasn't even close. I actually think, to be fair to the fans here, it didn't travel.
Yeah, I don't think it quite reached the front row.
Foul ball. After those couple of points, bit of an indifferent start here from Zverev after what was a pretty dramatic conclusion to that opening set, and there can always be a little bit of a flat spot at times, especially across the best of 5. Cameron likes to play quite quick at times between points. A tool in his arsenal in terms of just trying to keep the opponent under pressure.
Yeah, I think it's the rhythm that he likes, but the other thing I would add, I think he likes it in terms of Cam Norrie probably has one of the lowest resting heart rates in the game, you know, and the physical side is an advantage against most players. So he wants to play quickly and minimize his opponent's recovery time.
Second.
So nicely done. Sweet start to the second for Norrie.
Beautiful volley. Again, look at the way he attacks it with his feet and his legs. It's remarkable, the point you made, not stabilising the racket with the non-playing hand, but...
I just don't know how you find the right grip every time, though. That's the thing that apart from the fact I don't know where my racket head is and it's wandering around, so therefore you can get to the contact point late. How do you change the grip as you go up there from necessarily hitting a forehand approach? Okay, that was a serve, so he was already closer to having the right grip for the forehand.
Yeah, usually the playing hand would alter the grip, but the non-playing hand would help stop it in the right position.
Yeah.
But he's doing it all with just the playing hand,
And I do think the point when he lost at the net at to go down 6-5, and it's not a big data sample, don't get me wrong, but I do think you've come in and he's on the stretch, and so he doesn't know exactly where the racket head is, and potentially if he hasn't picked up the right grip, it's almost impossible to get that racket face open. when he moves through that backhand like that, there is no better shot in men's tennis.
Yeah, he's looking good here. He's looking very dangerous.
Whereas the forehand, the footwork and the big swing can suddenly look a little out of sync. It just never looks that way on the two-hander.
No, he doesn't have to think about the two-hander. He could hit it in his sleep.
There, he's looking at his swing, and I will argue it was his footwork. He got a little cramped, ended up having to improvise with his arm because his body was in the wrong place, not because the swing path was wrong. The one thing about his forehand that I've always kind of believed, but you know, it's only a theory because obviously he hadn't had the opportunity to kind of see it in practice. I still feel as though he holds the racket too high up the grip. You can see it on his serve. Doesn't really hurt him, it seems, on the serve. I think it does hurt him a little bit on the second at times, even though he's obviously stopped the double faulting. I do think it was a problem back then, but I do think it kind of limits him a little bit to having a great kick serve, which I think he potentially could have.
It limits how much you can sort of use the hand, doesn't it, and flick the racket head.
Because he tends to have a kind of slice second serve, and at his height, you think, especially on the ad side, he should be able to have a really good kicker that's sort of halfway up the sideline and take his opponents off the court. Maybe not so great against someone like Cain being a lefty today, but I do think against righties it would be a really, but when it's up there it blocks it. But more importantly, I think on the forehand, when he gets tense, when you have your hand that far up the grip, I think you grip tighter.
Yeah, tighter, hard to keep the hand loose, isn't it? You know, that last part of the chain, that loose hand and wrist is so important. It probably gives him a lot of stability on the two-hander and the first serve, you know, hitting flat serves. But yeah, I agree with you. He does sort of hold the racket pretty high up. Here's Norrie changing the angles again.
Nice some shot.
How good was the return?
The return was...
I love watching Norrie serve from there because you know you're in for an interesting point. It's something completely different. That's almost round the net. And that is remarkable.
This sounds so counterintuitive, and that was a great effort. It was a great second serve. But I never am keen to see people serve and volley into Sasha's forehand because it's the one shot that has so much spin on it that he can pull it down on your shoelaces. So I know it's a better shot, the two-hander, but it stays in the air longer. It's higher above the net for longer than his forehand.
It's easy with hindsight. I think that almost, if he's going to serve volley on the second serve, rather it was a sort of quicker swinging serve into the forehand body than a kicker wide that gives him time to really wind up. But again, it's a brilliant response from Norrie. It's been a brilliant response to losing the opening set, hasn't it? Has not let his head go down at all.
No, and he's one of those players that like to kind of fixate at times, doesn't he, on little pockets of people or one person in particular in the crowd. Cam is focused on his job at the start of this second, held on to his serve twice.
Would you like a chance to win the ultimate Australian Open finals experience? Of course you would. Grab your ticket in the ATF lottery to be in to win flights, accommodation, exclusive dining experience, and your choice of tickets to the men's or the women's final. So grab your phone out now if you can, and scan the QR code up on the big screen. All proceeds support the Australian Tennis Foundation.
Time.
Yeah, he's got a good look about him, hasn't he? Yeah, he must be enjoying playing like he is out here. I mean, this is fun. When you're hitting the ball as cleanly as Cam is, it's not fun to be a set down, don't get me wrong, but tests in men's tennis don't come any tougher than this against Sasha in these kind of rounds, against being a lefty. We know his record against lefties as well. His brother's a lefty. It seems as though he's worked out. So one of the ultimate challenges here for Norrie. 10,500 packed into this stadium.
Yes, a brilliant crowd. Look at that scene, and you know, you get the sense that Zverev likes playing here, you know, in the John Cain Arena. A number of players do. I
agree. This is kind of one of the perfect courts, isn't it, in terms of size, spectators, square meterage in terms of the actual court. He is a stadium court style player, Zverev, because he likes to play from deep and return from deep at times, not necessarily an outside court player where it's a little narrower, not quite as much depth. Block return for Cam, is that something that would work or not really?
I think tactically, you know, it could be a good tool to use against Zverev. I'm just not sure, as you know, Norrie has a good enough block return on the floor. I don't think he trusts it enough. Similar to the volley. For me, the racket is a tiny bit too sort of square and closed, so he doesn't then quite get the bite on the ball. Spin gives control. You need that little bit of bite and slice. It sort of just pops off flat. His backhand return, Norrie, isn't an issue because it's such a compact shot anyway. He can play two hands. Just a little bit more feel on the forehand chip might be something he could add.
I wonder what Sasha was getting disappointed about there. I thought there was more movement in the crowd, but it was the racket that he wanted back from the stringers.
He's sending them back one at a time, I think.
Well, this I don't understand at all. Why is he doing that? Why is he running the risk of not having a new restring back in time? He can't be worried about it sitting there on the court for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's an unusual approach. I mean, he must have at least 6. I'm thinking 8 or 9.
He would have bought
rackets.
at least 6 at the end of last year.
Yeah.
At the local shop. Surely.
Yeah. Paid in cash, got a deal. But, you know, he's probably got 9 rackets in his bag, let's say. So why not send at least 3 of them to get strung at the same time? Didn't seem to bother him though.
I mean, I know players can be absolutely crazy with like string tensions. I mean, Grigor he's at 0.9 or something on you know, mains and crosses. I mean, not the full either 23, it's 22.7.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, he does feel the ball pretty well though, so maybe he can feel the difference.
Us heathens up here. Yeah, that is so good. He's apologising for the shot before, not the one that he's just glided down the line.
And that straight run is so quick. I just felt Norrie maybe could have attacked this with.
I agree.
He waited for the ball.
100% you're right, Flembo.
And it cost him.
He was so worried about technically doing the right thing on the volley that he forgot to move his feet.
Yeah.
What a serve. What a serve.
On that point as well. You know, just in reference to the net approach, the point before, you know, that's the level that we're watching here, isn't it? The highest, the elite level. So just the tiniest little indecision or, you know, wrong choice can cost you the point. This is the sharpest end of the sport.
It's just not a natural kind of flow to the rally for Cam. He's done so well throughout the course of his illustrious career of taking himself out of his comfort zone and implementing different things, and that's why he was at a career high 8 in the world. But that could be costly.
Oh. Didn't miss by much there. Brilliant. That is so gutsy. That's not the most comfortable play for him, but there wasn't any doubt in his mind when he got the shot ball in his forehand. Attacked that one with his feet, ripped it down the line and came in again. You know, the second set is potentially on the line there.
And you're so right what you say. I mean, we talk a lot in sport, and it kind of irritates me at times. Everyone wants to talk about the 1-2% and, you know, the elusive bit of magic, and they forget to mention that you need the 90% to be worried about the 1 or 2%, and you need to do that foundation incredibly well. But with Cam, you are 100% right. If he doesn't do the 1 and 2% right tonight, he's going to get beaten. Great serve. This is a huge game now because he's kind of put himself in the foxhole. But if he can dig himself out, that is going to give him a huge boost. Little thumb, I think, indication from Facu there that maybe he feels like he needs to change his serve out wide. Well defended.
Great spot with the serve. He did go wide, engaging with the coach, and yeah, covered the net brilliantly. It's easy to panic when you see someone like Zverev sprinting around the court, taking cut after cut at you.
I think that him standing in the middle there, where he wasn't really covering line at all, kind of confused Sasha. He thought, well, he can't be leaving that much space. He's going to go and dart into it. little look at his own tension in his racket there, was Norrie, as that one gets away from him.
Feels to me that Norrie can't buy a free point with the serve, and I don't think he's serving badly at all. Zverev returning exceptionally well. Yeah, Norrie 23% of unreturned serves tonight. Well, there's one right on cue. That's almost how good it has to be. 189 kilometers an hour out wide to the juice court, tight to the line, short in the box. Oh, he would love another one here. But it's that sort of return that Zverev just seems to be making with such consistency. And that just builds pressure. Constantly having to come up with a good point to get ahead on your service game.
A little Zverev sizzle on the return here. What a backhand that was.
It's hard to put into words how good this is. The ball is moving almost 45 degrees across him. And to time it that well, my goodness.
Produce an absolute bullet of a forehand to back up the backhand that blindsided Norrie.
Certainly playing like the third seed, isn't he? Big time tennis.
That is a big hit from that far behind the baseline. Norrie going wide again. Interesting that he's decided not to go back to that position on the baseline of serve.
I love that. That's exactly what I was hoping he was going to do. You know, the mind games. So he goes wide again, but it's a let. Okay, what do you do now? Serves more centrally, but still goes wide. And he's caught Zverev out there.
Deceleration on the forehand that was from Zverev. Lost all the RPMs that he needed.
What an effort this would be for Norrie. Nearly 10 minutes of hard work invested in this game.
What a hold. What character from Norrie. 3-2.
that's where, you know, I think his capacity, physical capacity for hard work helps him, because, you know, a 10-minute game like that, most players would be tiring as it goes on, physically and mentally, and you start to think, I can't sustain this any longer. But I think his engine helps him, because he can keep going and he can keep fighting, and that's a really important game for Norrie to come through.
We have a packed house inside John Cain Arena tonight. Beautiful night in Melbourne. So we try and get as many of you up on the big screen as possible. Hello there. Welcome to you. So look out for our camera. We'll try and get you up on the big screen.
Time.
Sasha at the changeover there, I think just checking his levels if you are watching him for the first time, because he's got diabetes 1 and he's been playing that at the top end of the game ever since he turned pro. Something that he manages incredibly well, and at times it definitely hasn't been easy for him.
Yes, I can only imagine. Challenge. AC/DC from the DJ. There's a new AC/DC sign, isn't there, on AC/DC Lane here in Melbourne?
You've been doing some sightseeing?
No, I've not been yet. I've seen a photo. I need to check it out. Working too hard.
For all the great work that Cam did to dig himself out of the hole and put himself in, I do think the return where Cam took the forehand down the line to save one of the break points is the kind of return that Sasha's great rivals at the top of the game kind of like to see, because what they don't want to see is him stepping in and cracking another backhand return and taking control of the rally. They want to see that he's still willing just to knock a return into play, and they can go to work.
Yeah, good point. Rivals at the very top of the game want on the big points to be the one dictating.
And you take a look at Sasha's record against top 5 players on the tour, take away the Grand Slam matches, just best of 3 matches that he's played, and he sits at 26 and 36. That's a very credible record against top 5 players. Best of 3 matches. Throw it forward to Grand Slams, best of 5. He's 1 and 13. And there has to be something in that as he goes through a best of 5 match. Those players are perhaps just a little more willing to go for it early and on the bigger points, because there's just a longer journey to recover any kind of defeat. He kind of plays at the same level all the way through, same risk profile.
This is it. That's the 5-set tennis. It's the ultimate test. And the better player will win even more of the time than at best of 3. You know, you let the odds play out. So often it's the player that dictates, that plays to win in the big moments, that comes through.
That was impressive. Just felt as though it was a little sluggish, whether that was an energy issue due to the diabetes or just got a bit despondent after not being able to break through in that previous Norrie service game, but he's managed to fire in a nice dart there to pull up alongside Norrie.
Take a seat quickly, please, at the back of the course. Thank you.
He's clipped the line. Thought that forehand was going to miss just wide. So much topspin, doesn't he? Every service game huge for Norrie. As he set down, and the way that the match is playing out now, it's hard to see him breaking. This may well take a tie break for the Brit. Another excellent return from Zverev. The depth is exceptional.
Was made to look a lot easier than it actually was.
Yeah, timed it brilliantly. Almost on the half volley. I just wonder, how's that beaten Zverev though? I think when you've nudged that down the line deep, you've got to be sort of covering the line and.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it was a very difficult cross-court pass for Cam to beat Sasha.
Yeah, and the pass was a metre in. It wasn't close to the sideline. Just expected him to be getting a racket on that ball.
He's got the crowd on his side. He's got the scoreboard on his side. Can he capitalise on it? 4-3 Norrie.
Much more straightforward game there for Norrie. Good stuff, as I say. May well take a tiebreak for Norrie. Zverev is looking pretty convincing on serve, and one area he's having particular success down the tee to that juice court. He's won 100% of first serve points in there, 11 out of 11. We mentioned it, Norrie's not really comfortable chipping that return. He's got quite a big swing. He's won 80% wide to the forehand on the ad as well. So those big serves troubling Norrie, who's had much more success returning off his backhand.
Time.
Definitely feel as though this is a good patch for Norrie. Aspirations will be high. Can the German keep him at bay for the time being? That will help. Just dialing up another ace, his 8th of the match.
12 from 12 now. First serve points, one down the tee on the juice court.
Straight at him, legit shot, nothing wrong with that.
Did it get him, or was it the racket?
No, I think it was the racket that Sasha got in the way of him to defend himself.
It was the right shot. You're absolutely correct. It was legitimate and the right shot. Yeah, got the racket, swiped across. But, you know, he's all over the net there, Zverev. If you take a risk trying to play a lob, so just whack it straight at him. Doesn't mind getting under the skin of the big names in the sport, does he, Norrie? Got into it a little bit with Djokovic previously in his career. It was an easy overhead, wasn't it? Rather than put it away to the side, I think he hit Novak, who had his back turned. I do think that was a, you know, you're absolutely right.
No, you're 100% right.
The right shot. We like a bit of needle as well. Don't mind it.
I was just going to say that after he did it, and Novak didn't particularly like it, Cain was 13 in the world. The next year at the same tournament in Rome, he was 30. And the year after that, he was 90. So I'm always a little cautious to say it's the right shot.
Yeah.
I think the one in the overhead, he definitely could have put somewhere else. There was definitely a bit of a message in the overhead that I'm not going to be scared of your reputation.
Yeah. It was Rome 2023, wasn't it?
Actually was with Cam in Rome this year, just chatting in the locker room, and he was 90 in the world, and I was saying to him, you know, I think I've been watching you play, you look like you're hitting the ball well, and he's always had a lot of confidence, and rightly so. When you've been in the top 10, you've got to have confidence to believe you're going to get there, number one. And number two, if you're not there, you're still going to believe you're going to get there. And he just looked at me pretty matter-of-factly and said, yeah, I think good times are going to come. I don't think they're far away now. And it was nice to hear, because I wanted him to do well, and it wasn't long after that he started putting great results together. Semis of Geneva the next week.
Yeah. Yeah, these players that have, you know, been in the top 20, top 10, they know when they're in shape. They know when they're feeling the ball, and deep line confidence will be there that the wins will come.
Yeah, and then we round of 16 lost to Djokovic at Roland. Didn't have a great little couple of weeks on the grass at Queens and Eastbourne, but then made it back to the quarters at Wimbledon, lost to Alcaraz, and then finishing it off last season by making the final in Metz with an absolute barn burner against Lerner Tien in the final.
He's having more success with the wide serve from the central position, because I think it just creates that little bit more doubt in Zverev's mind as to whether he'll actually go wide or whether he'll serve tee. Zverev has dealt with the wide position as well as anyone I've seen tonight, so Norrie just needs to be careful when he mixes that in. That's a serve that's working beautifully for him in this set. What a time to deliver it again.
See it, and that's the sort of thing I love to see, because that only happens out on the match court if it's been happening back in the lab. Norrie executing beautifully, 5-4.
A good return from Zverev, got it down pretty low. Well, he just kept it simple, get the racket in front. Did really well to come through there from 15-30.
Interesting, he's one of those players that chokes up on the grip, like for the volley. Actually just goes and chaunts the racket to try and give it a little bit more stability.
I don't mind it on the volley.
Rafa used to do it.
Yeah, it reduces your reach marginally, but it does give you that little bit more stability on the racket face. I don't, but you know, as long as you get down and with the volley, it helps you be precise, and volleying is more about precision than power, isn't it?
Yep.
Time.
6-0 against somebody, you do need to take a moonshot in terms of your thinking. And Norrie did that on this court back in 2024. Almost got the win, lost in a deciding set breaker, and he is making this extremely close early on. If he could nick this second set and maybe insert a few doubts into this man's mind, things could get very interesting.
Big. And the level, pretty much from the get-go, has remained incredibly high. You know, Norrie, he really set the bar, didn't he, the first two games of this match. He came out and sent the message to Zverev, you know, you're not going to be able to just sort of coast through this one. This has been an excellent match. That's the shot, isn't it, where he's slightly less comfortable moving through the forehand, taking it up the line. We saw the success he's been having on the tee serve to this juice court. Is that the one he's going to look for here? He knew it was coming.
He sat on it, he took a gamble.
Talk about making it count though, ripped it onto the baseline. It's going to be one of the best returns he's ever hit.
Thank you.
Set point. How aggressive is he potentially going to be on this return? With his feet more than his racket work. Deserves that set, no question about it. For the second half, he was a lot better than Zverev. And we're locked at 1-1.
Real admiration from the box, isn't there, for Norrie's efforts here. I think even his main coach, Fakut Magona, is impressed with what his charge is producing. Similarities with their match here 2 years ago. Zverev won the first set 7-5 on that occasion as well. Norrie got the second 6-3. Zverev went on to win the third and ultimately the fifth set. So maybe if Norrie's going to get a different outcome, he needs to find a way to win this third set, get ahead in the match.
Well, he's going to do that if he continues to play like this. You could sense that Sasha was trying to get something going at the start of this third set, the way that he played the opening point, but Norrie kept him at bay, turned it around. That's fine. 40 love, it's not the end of the world. I do think that Sasha's played a little bit too much width on that backhand return to the Norrie forehand. I don't see why going through the middle of the court there, even just a little bit onto the forehand side of Norrie from that backhand side to not give him any width, but still find the forehand wouldn't be the worst idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think a less comfortable shot from that position, but what a game there.
Yeah. That was a great game. What about this shot? And this was really the fulcrum that changed the entirety of this match.
Yeah, and you could feel that the split step was slightly left. He was edging that way. There he is. Zverev, probably not his most accurate tee serve, but you have to say that return is exceptional. It's the shot that's won him the set. Absolutely middled it. And look at the reaction as well. What an animal, Cameron Norrie.
Nothing feels better than that when you take a guess and it pays off.
Yeah.
He's been looking for that shot, found it occasionally.
I think that's the way to go for Zverev here. You know, you're almost thinking, how would Alcaraz, how would Sinner approach this? You know, Norrie playing well, they'd step up and take it to another level, wouldn't they, in terms of the attacking intent. I think if Zverev were to back off here, he could find himself in real trouble tonight. You know, the onus is still on Norrie to sustain the level that he's played at for a good while longer, you know, an extra 2-3 hours maybe to get the job done. You're more confident with all his experience that Zverev will keep the level high, but he's got to keep looking to be aggressive, looking to dictate.
It's a long way through 5 sets, and at certain times you got to do that, which was an ability to try and shorten the point. He was still trying to make it, but you've also got to recognize when to invest your energy and when just to ease back a bit. It definitely feels as though Cam just put his mind in neutral for a second there. And he will want to re-engage nice and quickly here at 1 apiece. Not much there to guide us in terms of which way this is going to go. This man is pretty much going to be the lighthouse in terms of which way this is going to go because of the way that he's playing. I get the sense, Flembo, and correct me if I'm wrong, please do, that Zverev plays Norrie very much on a patience basis, not necessarily on a tennis basis. Just, I'll serve well, I'll hold serve 90% of the time, and I'm going to make a lot of returns, and at some point he's going to miss a few and I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's how he plays most players. It's almost like his winning formula, isn't it? Punchy return there. I just get a sense, actually, for Norrie, he was so amped after that second set. Brilliant first game of the third here. Has he had a little dip? That one where he got carried away, didn't he? He found himself in no man's land, just swinging for the hills in a forehand. And since then, I just feel he's dipped. This is a dangerous game.
Brilliant execution. It had to be that good. Anything less and he was in all sorts of trouble. It's just really hard. When you look at players' records over the years, we talk about it a fair bit. You know, the player that goes up the set, how many matches they win compared to when they lose it, because you just have to be so perfect. Yes, it's a little easier over 5 sets to be able to recover the deficit. But any moments like this, and there's going to be 1 or 2, seem to hurt you even more.
Yeah, I really feel that forehand where he was sort of in the 3/4 court, bit of no man's land, almost trying to rip a half volley. I think it's just rattled his psyche slightly here. He seems to be, it's not coming as easy to him.
The architect of his own demise there, Norrie. He has been so magnificent for the last 50 minutes or so, but that is a gift that Zverev will accept gratefully. Just furthering the point about how players are such great front runners. Sasha, when he wins the opening set in a Grand Slam, is 91-19. When he loses the opening set, he's 26-22. And it's a lot easier for Cam, I would imagine, to play the kind of style of tennis that he's been playing, hitting the ball well, when you're sort of in that kind of semi-subconscious state, as he was throughout the majority of that second set. But suddenly you have to break back. And now you still need to play that type of tennis. It just gets incrementally harder to stay in that flow. And the lift that this man has taken as well is going to be substantial.
Yeah, I have to say I'm impressed with Zverev, though. You know, he also sort of allowed Norrie to have that dip, doesn't he? He's like a sort of turbo diesel. Just, you know, he's powerful and he just keeps going forever.
That's the return you've got to respect, and just kind of parry back as best you can to a length and kind of just absorb it rather than trying to do anything with it.
I think there's maybe some moisture, some sweat beyond the baseline for Norrie. Just wants it dried up, or potentially some of the local wildlife just doing their thing.
Oh, what a response. What an angle he has created there. And again, because of his height, he's able to go down into the court.
Yeah, and this forehand was mishit from Norrie. Zverev could easily have switched off thinking it was missing wide, but another exceptional two-handed backhand, getting right round the outside of the ball.
He's got good use of the left hand, hasn't he, Zverev? We've talked about his record against lefties, but plays golf left-handed, and that is the one thing you want to have a great double-hander.
Yeah, good call. Marty Fish, phenomenal call for right-handed tennis player. Plays left-handed, doesn't he? Two-handed backhand. Not sure Zverev's quite as good as Marty. But I bet he hits it a long way when he connects.
Jim Courier plays golf left-handed.
I saw a great video on social media of Jim playing the drums in one of the fan zones here. It's worth checking out. What a character.
Yeah.
Bit of Metallica into Sandman, and he's didn't miss a beat. Seriously talented dude.
I was next to him during COVID when we came down here for the quarantine for 2 weeks, and he had his little drum set next door.
No way.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad, to be fair.
Not sure I could have dealt with that.
It's Jim. You can deal with it, trust me.
Slightly sluggish game here from Zverev so far, but of course he's got the luxury of the break already. He can afford to take a bit of a breather on a return game.
And again, you know, the quality, to be honest, has been exceptional for pretty much an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not often you see such sustained excellence for that period of time. There's a few dips here and there, but nobody really gave up anything in that time frame. So in some respects, Zverev also will be quite happy to take a little bit of a breather. He's done some of the hard work in this third set to lead by the break 3-2. We could be here all night long, judging on their performance here before and judging on the way that this match has kind of developed so far. At the moment, it is a set apiece, but a break for Zverev here in the third set. A couple of unbelievable years for Cain back in 21 and 22. Over 52 wins in 21 for Norrie. Not far off the magic 50 the next year at 44. And the golden period between May of 2021 to August 22, where he made 10 ATP Tour finals in that period. And when you think he'd made just one Tour final in Auckland in 2019 before that, it was astonishing how consistent he was. Standout win, of course, was the autumn edition of the Indian Wells Masters 1000 in 21. First winner of that particular tournament in 46 years from Britain. I love it when Sasha has his left foot forward more on that forehand. I can't deny it.
Yeah, really steps into this forehand, and it means that his weight is traveling through the ball, down the court towards the target, and there's no doubt that is when he hits his forehand best.
When it's short, I always feel like he should be in that position. Even three-quarter court when he's inside the baseline, more often than not, that should be kind of his style of play with the footwork pattern. Because there, when you see him, a lot of the time I get the sense that his 2 feet are very narrow base. It's a very narrow base. They're not wide. When he takes the left foot forward, he kind of naturally sinks down because he's taking a big step towards the ball. So he gets down to meet it. When he's looking for that kind of semi-open stance, and again, that last forehand was a prime example. His feet were about as wide as his shoulders, a bit narrower maybe, so he stays so tall that he almost has to just flick up the back of the ball.
Definitely got a tendency to get caught upright, doesn't he? I agree with the point you made earlier. I feel like the majority of forehands he misses are because his feet aren't in the right place, his weight isn't going in the right direction.
That was going in the right direction. That just stayed on rails, right down the pipe.
For anyone that hasn't been with us for the duration here, this has been an incredibly high-level match. Just one drop-off game, really, from Cameron Norrie at 1-1 in this set, but otherwise, these guys have been going at it.
Kind of like the Mona Lisa, his backhand. Norrie's not particularly attractive, but utterly priceless.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Do people queue to see it? I think they do.
Yeah. Because it fits in with his style of play so well, because it's so disruptive. His footwork's so good, he can cut the angle off. What he tosses back to you is awkward to hit. But then when you see him hit one of those, he can generate. But you would never really produce the shot the way that it is produced by him. But it is effective, and it has certainly kept him in touch in this third set.
Optimistic person, Cameron Norrie. As long as this is just a one-break deficit, he'll believe in his chances to recover in this third set.
How long have you been doing that for? Have you got back to
still played pretty well in this set, Norrie, but the one kind of suboptimal service game allowed Zverev to break free. The bit of good news is that Zverev's first serve percentage is down at 50% at the moment. Can he get a look at some more seconds?
That's about as low as you'll get his first serve percentage.
Correct. He hasn't been able to really chisel away at the second serve points that he's had. Germans won 5 out of 7. Nothing you can do about that. Absolutely nothing. That's why he was one match away from being world #1 before that horrific injury against Nadal at Roland Garros in the semi-finals, and that absolute war of attrition. That is picture perfect. And he may well be perfectly placed either after this game or the next one. I think we've...
You want to do it? I can do it.
I think nature has taken its course again. We've got the same problem.
He's offering to clean it up himself there, Sasha. Credit to him.
This young gentleman, was this in the job description?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Clean up some... Judging by that picture, this might not be the last delay of this sort that we get. Prolific they are.
Plenty of intent that he's trying to see and sew up this third set here, Zverev. Don't often see him make that little hop to the left to bring the forehand into play from there. The crowd obviously seeing the funny side. Oh, look at this. He's a father, isn't he, Alexander Zverev? So he's probably cleaned up a little bit of that sort of thing before. Judged to perfection. That's the problem when you've got no room for error, Flembo, is it? You play a little more conservatively.
Yeah, not enough on the approach, and that just afforded Zverev time. It was a great time to play the lob.
There's one thing I don't see a lot from the racket of the German over the years is a forehand topspin lob.
No, I'm just thinking that. I haven't seen that from Zverev very often. Tends to go for power.
Yeah, it's worked well when he's had a bit of time, but that was one of those where you got to guide it. You can't have a full swing at it and try and finish the point. The return was just too good. Very impressive turnaround from Zverev after dropping the second. Comfortably takes the third, 6-3. Crowd pretty vocal at the start of this fourth set. Cam enjoys that very much. A part of his life while he was at TCU over at Fort Worth in Texas. Became the best player in the NCAA in 2017. James Trotman actually was with him through some of his late teenage years in the UK for Cam. They actually part of that decision-making process to, even though he was one of the better juniors in the world, to head over to the US just to go over there and play some more matches. Oh, and learn how to hit backhand passes.
Remarkable shot, and you could just see him starting to engage with some people in the crowd. That is his calling card, isn't it? When he's up against it in a match, he'll pick a few people out and really try and find a cause almost, people to drive him on.
Turning what is a rectangle into what looked like a bit like a circle. I mean, they were just curling the ball around this stadium magnificently. Can be a little linear with his attack, can Zverev, but not that time. Use the angles beautifully. Cam has more of an issue, doesn't he, on his backhand to be able to maneuver the ball and dissect the line. He's kind of got to go a little off pace to cut it short on the two-hander. Yeah, forehand, not so much.
And coming back to that lob that Zverev hit the last game of the third set, you know, even just adding that, it's something different, isn't it, for an opponent that might approach the net against him.
Yeah, that wouldn't be any top-line things of what to watch out for when you take on Sasha. But just maybe his great rivals who are making more and more inroads to the net in their matches, he feels as though that is going to be a way to counter it.
Almost been a carbon copy of their meeting 2 years ago. 7-5, 3-6, 6-3, the first three sets in Zverev's favour. This one just a game different. Norrie won the 4th set 6-4 on that occasion, so he should take heart that he's kind of done it before in that regard. You know, extended a match with Zverev to 5 here. But 3 games in a row have gone against him here at a pretty important time, and can't afford for it to turn into 4 games in a row. Just feels like he's struggling, fighting to get his own energy up again. That was sitting to be hit, and didn't Zverev just step in and crunch it?
I love this shot. There was just a minor hesitation before he actually struck the backhand, where the ball, it looked like he's just waiting. You see on the way down, when it's on the way down like that, it's much harder to time your split step if you're Cam Norrie to try and defend it.
Norrie took a break from the court after the 3rd set, but he hasn't been able to reset. That was more of the same.
Didn't look, to be fair, that he had as much trust in it now as he did at the start of the match. That looked like he came out of the shot, I hope this goes in, rather than at the start of the match. It was emphatic when he struck it. And that's why you're almost saying, like, Sasha needs to move the backhand return, because he's getting hurt so many times with Cam taking the +1 down the line. Zverev has seen this movie play out 6 times previously, and he's loved the ending every single time.
Nice variety again. Maybe just starting to move through the gears, if anything getting stronger as this match continues. He kept 2 hands on the racket for a long time there. It was very hard for Norrie to see that coming.
Scoops up the forehand and collects an unforced error from Norrie and moves ahead to 3-love in the 4th.
Time.
Outside looks pretty for if you're Cam Norrie. Things don't look so great inside now. 2 sets to 1 down, break down in the 4th set. And the guys on data just saying that that last missed forehand from Cam was his 16th +1 error out of 39. He's just been checking out of rallies a little bit too quickly.
Wow. Incredible from Zverev, from both men. The tempo of that point, off the charts. And it was Zverev again, took the initiative, and he had the skill set to finish the job.
And there's another one.
Yeah, I think your point is valid. Perhaps slightly impatient, but I would also add, I feel like I mean, we've, I think, rightly praised him tonight for coming out of the comfort zone, because he's lost his Zverev 6 times. He's had to go for more. So I think maybe an argument to say that if he could play this brand of tennis more often on tour, then it might be more repeatable for him when these moments come, these matches come.
Couldn't agree with you more. And that was kind of the question I was going to ask you, because that's the reality of the situation for him against somebody like Zverev. Tennis is a match-up in styles. If he doesn't try and play that way, he's going to lose, because Sasha's going to build momentum in too many rallies and either beat him hands down or extract an error the other way. So I don't mind the fact that he's done it, but if he's going to look back at this match, he's going to have to simply get better at the serve +1, executing it, because when he did it well for a couple of sets, he was super competitive.
Yeah, he was. He's pushed Zverev to the limit at times this evening.
He's got such a good short angle backhand pass. I don't know, honestly, the physics behind it, because I don't think they exist.
Well, particularly this one, he's nearly down the tunnel.
I mean, he's got no right to flick it the way he does every single time. It is one of his best shots. Superior right now. He got himself in a little tangle with his footwork in the middle of that rally, Zverev, but the last couple of forehands were perfect in my mind. He had a beautiful semi-open stance, wide base, drilled the forehand, then he got his left foot forward, and you almost knew it was going line when he does that. It's almost a bit of a tell for the opponents when he does it. And then there was no way back for Norrie, not just in that point, but surely now in the match. I think the other thing about the +1 for Cam on the forehand, particularly on the outside, it's very difficult to redirect line every time.
Yeah, it's a high risk
and
shot.
I think there's probably, if he goes back and just breaks down, which you can do with the great software you have in the world these days, you can get your match, you can break down literally +1 forehands for the entirety of the match. And you can look at those as just one group, one collection of shots within a match, and see which ones he really felt were on going down the line and which ones maybe should have pulled back cross court.
Just coming back to Zverev, I think he's been superb tonight. Even, you know, the second set that he lost, the majority of it, the level was really high, wasn't it? Just a stunning return from Norrie at the end to sort of nick the set. To me, he's looked like the world number 3, and he's looked like a world number 3 that's a lot closer to the world number 1 and 2 than the accumulation of points might suggest at this moment in time.
Yeah, and you never know, Flammer, do you? They're coming in here under the radar. Everyone I have read on social media, traditional papers, talk about Carlos and Jannik. That's it. They don't even really, they're not really talking about Novak yet, which could be a big mistake.
And I would add to that, the next question, is there anyone that can beat them? People aren't even talking about Zverev at this moment in time. But I think they might be after tonight, or certainly starting to mention his name.
Unless we're about to witness a Connors-style comeback.
This would annoy Zverev if he were to drop serve here.
Time he put the left foot down, pulled it cross court, and that looks effortless. Softened him up. And he has still got a group of believers.
The intensity there, brilliant.
Thank you.
That's unlucky.
Yes.
Hey, come, let's go.
Drops a couple of aces. And the distance back into this too far for Norrie now. Zverev on the brink of a place in the 4th round.
Cain.
It's a runaway train.
15. Mr. Zverev is reversing the relay of the serve on the next service line.
I saw it, yeah, I've got it in.
He has ambushed Norrie, but this is definitely, and I agree with you here, Flembo, this is definitely the kind of performance tonight, but particularly kind of in the last set and a half that grabs your attention. That is unbelievable footwork. He got down, he lived with that ball. Norrie can't live with him when he's in this form.
Yeah, this is some of his best tennis in recent times. Well, Norrie will be disappointed.
He'll be disappointed because he kind of started the rot, you know, because
he'll feel like his dip.
Yeah.
But really, he's taken his game to a really high level tonight and should feel like if I can do that for the rest of the season, I'll be fine.
As ever, he's never going to drop his head. He's always going to fight till the final point. But Zverev can end Norrie's adventure in Australia right now. Well, Flambeau, you called it. The third set was a kind of low number at one stage at 50%. He did tick it up to 60, which again is a little bit under average for him. This set has been nothing short of spectacular. 84% of his first serves have gone in.
Yeah, and even his court cleaning skills have been impressive. For the first time, just wiping up a bit of a mess from the local wildlife.
Just go and get the towel.
This has been a night.
Thank you.
I think that Alexander Zverev has sort of arm wrestled his way into the conversation in this Australian Open. Really strong performance.
stab return from Norrie. I'm sure how he even got his racket on it was the perfect serve.
Yeah, did so well to put the ball back in play. Not sure why Zverev overcomplicated things there by trying to go tight to the line, back in behind. Frustration just spilling over for Norrie. He's played some brilliant tennis, played his part in a really high-level match.
Second break point of this game is 5th overall. And that is the thing in general between these two, that Zverev will just build more pressure consistently on the Norrie serve than Norrie is able to do to Zverev. 14 breakpoint opportunities for Sasha tonight against the Brit. It's not easy for Cam, is it, to square up the racket face on that form. We've seen a couple of absolute pearlers from him tonight, but it isn't easy to be repeatable with it. I sometimes feel like he goes across the ball a bit quickly or gets over the top rather than keeping that racket face longer. And that one finding itself at the bottom of the net as Zverev at match point for the first time tonight. A sweet 16th ace as he makes his way through to the Sweet 16 once again here in Australia. That was a really fun watch. There was a lot to get our teeth into, and there was a lot that Zverev needed to do at a set apiece after a high quality couple of hours, but then he motored away from Norrie and he picks up his 7th straight win against the Brit.